This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famers, Mike Van Diest, joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show, broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Here's Jason Walker.
Yo, happy Tuesday, the Jason Walker Show inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. We are presented by Capital Collision Center, and big show coming up today. Our Monday moved to Tuesday, so we're going to have Jordan Hansen join us. And I believe he's there now, on this day in history coming up too. PBR CEO Sean Gleason, who was set to join us yesterday, is going to join us today. Is he on the phone?
I am on the phone if you can hear me.
We can hear you, Mr. Gleason. How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm all right. How's the head cold?
A little better. It was not COVID, so
that's good.
That's a good thing. But yeah, no, it's we've been burning the candle at both ends. So fortunately, we've since March nobody's gotten really sick or anything. So half a day of rest is all we've had to take.
There's no doubt about you getting sick. I'm actually surprised you didn't get sick earlier. The way things have been going since March for you.
Yeah, well, it probably didn't help that I spent most of the weekend in 68-degree water in Pueblo Reservoir surfing, but that's another story.
Definitely. Sean Gleason, CEO of the PBR, joining us here, Jason Walker Show. Big news came out last week, and that's why I wanted to get you on. But with the with Las Vegas being the way it is, and with the governor of Nevada being the way things are, you guys had no choice but to move the PBR World Finals to another place. You found it. Take me through it.
Yeah, and we've been submitting plans for months, you know, and looking at the data and following the advice of Governor Sisolak as well as governors in other states, and you know, had some high hopes that we were going to be able to come back with fans in a reduced capacity. We had two plans, one of which would have kept us at T-Mobile, the traditional home of the World Finals, and the other one was to take it to Allegiant Stadium, the new football stadium, home of the Raiders. And unfortunately, neither one of those plans got an honest, fair shake or look, and we ended up having to force the issue really and move to AT&T Stadium. But what a place to land!
Yeah, no doubt about that. Speaking of landing, we're going to talk about something else coming up here in a second, but. Obviously, you're not going to be able to have a full packed house in Arlington or in Texas Stadium or in Cowboy Stadium, AT&T, whatever it's called nowadays, but still going to be pretty awesome. And this is not something new. You guys have been to this stadium before and held PBR events there before for 10 years now, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we've had just shy of 50,000 people packed into that building, and a great crowd. It's the single biggest day in PBR's history. We've had 10 years of events there, so we're very familiar with the venue. And we're going to be able to get about 18 to 20,000 into the venue, socially distanced and pod seating, and the typical. So we wanted to do that for a variety of reasons, but mostly to serve our friends in the city of Las Vegas as they try and get their city back on track.
No doubt about that. Sean Gleason joining us here, Jason Walker Show, PBR CEO on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Sir, when you look at this year,
at the beginning of this year, pre-COVID, I'd say it's a success.
Sean Gleason, our guest here, Jason Walker Show. A couple final questions for you, but I mentioned carriers or landing. You guys are going to be doing something pretty awesome on the USS Lexington.
Yeah, we've buck bowls in the beach in Newport and Times Square in the middle of Manhattan. Also shut down Hollywood Boulevard and buck bowls in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater. So we've had an aircraft list of iconic places to go hold an event for a long time. It lined up with a TV window that our great partners at CBS made available to us. And so we decided to send 2020, a very challenging year, out with a bang and do a special event from the USS Lexington in Corpus Christi.
That is going to be awesome. How are you going to get all the dirt on board first off?
Well, they used to move a whole lot of aircraft and other equipment up and down onto those carrier decks. And so it's actually the same functioning elevator that carried planes in World War II and has, transported thousands and tens of millions of pounds of equipment up and down. Mm-hmm. So our little old bulls and dirt aren't going to be that big a deal really to get up there. And, it's a charity event. We're going to donate to Operation Homefront, which supports military families relocating back to or getting situated back in America once they've deployed. And it's going to be a great event. It's a team event. We'll have 5 teams of 3 bull riders each, and every second will count as they ride for the charity as well as themselves. And live on CBS, a network television broadcast event on December 5th, and we're pretty happy about being able to finish the year with something special. So not only will we have finished what we set out to start with the Unleash the Beast series, but we'll have introduced the Team Challenge, the Monster Energy Team Challenge in June, and then we'll finish with a special event in December.
You guys have been very busy all season long, with about 6 weeks off, it seems like, with COVID at the early part. Sean Gleason joining us here, Jason Walker Show. You mentioned the CBS part in December. CBS also a big partnership with the finals in November. Fans can watch all that, and also, did I read right? You guys are cutting it by a round or two.
We are. We're cutting out one round. Normally, we're Wednesday through Sunday in Las Vegas, and we just, because the Cowboys have a home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then Sunday would be a normal long round plus championship round.
And of course, fans can watch on television, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. CBS moved heaven and earth, really. Hello, are you still there?
Yep.
Jason,
No, I got you.
Yep. Sorry, sorry, a call was coming in. CBS moved heaven and earth to rearrange the schedule to allow all of the broadcasts to happen live over that 4-day period.
Wow.
Because the Masters, which was supposed to happen in April, was rescheduled. It happens to be on the same weekend that we scheduled the PBR World Final. So I can't say enough about the partnership with CBS and them being willing to accommodate our move back a week from our normal dates to make this all happen. A lot of people had to come together to help make this happen. The state of Texas, the city of Arlington, AT&T Stadium, the Dallas Cowboys, CBS. It's been just, a tough time. Cowboys come together, and they made this happen.
There's a lot of people that are talking about for, man of the year type stuff. I think you should be the sportsman of the year for everything that you've done for the PBR, for the nation this year, to have events starting back in April in Guthrie, Oklahoma. I mean, this has been awesome to watch, and you're high on my list for sportsman of the year.
Well, I appreciate that. I'd rather that our fans just recognize all the hard work that went into this and come out and support us, tune into TV, and help PBR continue the phenomenal growth that we were experiencing before we all ran into COVID-19.
I'm glad you were able to get us back into to Billings as well a couple of weeks ago. I know that made a lot of folks in Montana happy.
Yeah, there was a bigger chance that we weren't going to make Billings happen when the legislature voted to not approve National Day of the Cowboy than there was in the face of COVID-19. I was more committed to not doing an event in Billings for that reason back a couple of years ago than I was for, definitely wanted to make it happen. Billings has been such a great partner to us over the years, and we had to keep that streak alive.
Yeah, no doubt. It's 25 years in a row. So what's the schedule look like for next year?
Yeah.
Are we back on normal schedule, or is it just kind of up in the air still?
No, it won't be anything that resembles normal in terms of when we can get the events in. I mean, we usually kick the season off with Madison Square Garden the first week of January. I think we all know that's not going to happen. We do have Madison Square Garden tentatively in the schedule later in the year. We've got some new markets that we're looking to kick off the year with that are at present, opening up a little more and experiencing less challenges as a result of COVID-19. And so it will be, I'd say by March, we'll be back onto a fairly regular schedule to what fans have become accustomed to. We will get into Billings. I just can't tell you exactly when that'll be. We want to do it when we can open up those stands and serve all our fans.
No question. Sean Gleason, PBR CEO, appreciate you joining us. Oh, do me a quick favor, will you, when we get done, will you call Flint Rasmussen? He was whining last week. He said he needed to talk to you, and because I said you were coming on the show, and he was starting to whine, but you know how Flint can be, so will you take care of his ego for me?
I'll try. I mean, he whines all the time, so... And you guys in Montana get more of it than we do. I only have to see him on the weekends to get him all week. So, but we'll definitely try and take care of that.
Appreciate it. Take care, get healthy, and we'll see you down the road.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, that is PBR CEO Sean Gleason joining us here. Jason Walker Show on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Appreciate everybody helping to set that up. That he was sick yesterday. But feeling better today. And the PBR World Finals in November at AT&T Stadium. You got the big one on the USS Lexington, which is going to be really cool to watch in December. You remember, gosh, I can't even remember how long ago it's been now, but 15 years. Garth Brooks did a TV special on, was it the Enterprise in San Diego? He was on an aircraft. I think it was the USS Enterprise. And I think my brother was on that or in that video or in the concert, at the concert. I could be wrong. But I know Garth performed on anyway. So that's going to be cool. PBR CEO Sean Gleason, always appreciate his time. There is no doubt about that. Still to come today, on this day in history, we have a COVID update. Another school is closed because of COVID in Montana. Yesterday it was Conrad. Today another one. And a whole lot more coming up here. We're also next going to check in with Jordan Hansen. See, so yesterday was supposed to be Sean Gleason, Jordan Hansen. Mr. Gleason was sick. Jordy is going to explain where he was yesterday. When we return, Jason Walker Show presented by Capital Collision Center. We're coming right back.
New vehicles keep coming, and Capital Collision Center keeps earning certifications to repair them. They're Helena's newest GM-certified facility. No matter the make or year, they repair your car to manufacturer's standards and requirements, maintaining its safety and value. Montana state law says it's your vehicle and it's your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center, certified in GM, Subaru, and Nissan, and Helena's only shop certified in Honda, Acura, and Ford. When you value safety, go to Capital Collision Center on Euclid.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Fall is officially here, and now is the perfect time to get your rig tuned up before the big hunt. That means a lift kit from Auto Concepts. An Auto Concepts lift kit will help take you places only the animals can go. And when you do get that big one, make sure you have help to get it home with a winch to pull it out. Or maybe you'll be a good friend and help pull someone out of the snowbank. Check out AutoConceptsHelena.com for more ideas. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Jason Walker Show on a, Tuesday today. Presented by Capital Collision Center. Hanging out in the Major Mortgage Man Cave. On this day in history, COVID update, and much more coming on. Appreciate Sean Gleason joining us at the top of the hour. That was a lot of fun. And this week, we've got some great guests lined up. I just don't know who they are because I haven't written them down. Oh, yeah, we have Barry Abrams coming up on Thursday. Talk a little horse racing with the Preakness. And then Selena Adelson Journey will join us. She is a teacher, principal, and an author, and a longtime friend. So she'll join us on Friday. But welcome in our next guest on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Where were you yesterday, Jordan Hansen?
Well, first of all, I gotta apologize. That was pretty bad. But we went down to some hot springs just across the border in Idaho.
Oh, okay.
And I thought we were gonna get done a little bit earlier than we did, but alas, we did not, and I didn't realize it would be at a cell range. So
no worries, my man.
Little bad on my part. But.
No worries. Full disclosure, I just tried calling Jordan right after I went to commercial break. And he didn't answer. I'm like, oh, no, we're going to go through this again. But I'm glad you are finally with us. And I was worried yesterday, I got to tell you, because you are prone to accidents when you go outdoors. And I didn't know if you were okay or what. But I'm glad you're fine.
Yeah, one of these days I'm just going to get hit by a bear, and that's just going to be the end of it. So.
All right. Fun weekend as Jordan Hansen joins us, Missoulian sports reporter, 406mtsports.com. Good football over the weekend, and the teams that we picked keep winning, and that's a good sign for the postseason.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it means that we're the smartest of the bunch too. So I think that's the best part.
I like it. Did you get to Charlo?
No, actually, I ended up at Hellgate versus. Oh my God, I'm already blanking. They're playing.
Didn't they? They had Helena, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. That's
okay.
Right. Jesus, see, this is bad.
Did you fall down again? No, I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah, no, that was not a close game.
No, it wasn't. I think this is a Hellgate team that is still trying to find its sea legs. But I mean, like Caden Howe's the real deal. I mean, like that kid can play football.
Yep.
And it was really fun watching him go to work. And that defense is legit. They've got 3 linebackers there that are all probably going to play college football. And Scott Evans' son was playing really great for him too. And I think he just picked up a Grizz offer, if I'm not mistaken. But there's a reason for it. I mean, he can play. He can play in coverage. He can play, on the outside. He can, do a lot of different things that you really want, your linebackers to do. And I think that's kind of what makes a team like Helena so dangerous. Is, they've got, a secondary, and they've got some linebackers, and they've got the pass rush that, has been there for the most part for a couple of years. And, and I think that's the kind of the same line for, a team like Glacier or a team like Sentinel too. And it's like, these kids have been around each other for a lot. These senior laden teams always seem to, do some special things. So, and I think Helena maybe went up a little bit in my rankings this week too, because I was just really impressed, and they've got weapons on offense as well. And
I know that Hellgate has been a team rebuilding ever since they missed a year a few years ago, but they're still, I don't want to say they're still a year away, because you never know with high schoolers, but are they still a year away?
Well, I think they're a year away from being a year away. No, but I think it's a couple things. I mean, they have a new quarterback who is a transfer from Washington, one of the COVID transfers in Missoula that have been fairly common.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still adjusting to him, and he got injured, and they threw in a senior, who was mostly playing wide receiver before this to, kind of get him through. And I mean, there were some positives there. I mean, they've got a couple running backs who are decent, but the kid like Jake Sweatland and stuff, they're a senior this year, so it'll be a little bit tough. But I mean, Mick Morris, kind of has his work cut out for him. I mean, Hellgate, it doesn't have quite the history of football as Sentinel even this year, a Big Sky even. And, it's hard, especially when you're calling cards or things like basketball and cross country and soccer. And I mean, not that there isn't crossover there, but I mean it's those places are kind of where your star athletes kind of end up. I take a kid like Beckett Arthur, who's a midfielder and defender for Hellgate and one of the best in the state, and he's like 6'3", built like a wide receiver. I mean, in another reality, I was watching the Endgame last night, so I've got reality in the infinite universe in my head. But in another reality, I mean, like that's a good wide receiver on the outside is the number one wide receiver. And I mean, it's just I think some of it is just a product of where kids decide to put their interest in Hellgate that has not been in football, and I think that's kind of been Missoula overall, not to diss or anything on the football coaches or anything here, because there's a lot of people here that do some really, really, really good work. But I think it's a cultural thing almost, where Missoula hasn't been one of those talents that's really been known for football. I mean, like until last year, I mean the Sentinel hadn't even been in the state semifinals since like the 90s, I think. And
Right.
and Hellgate and Big Sky back in the 70s and 80s was the 80s and stuff was a little bit bigger of a deal as far as football goes. But I think kind of that's a whole path to walk down. But I mean that's just from my what I've seen, I guess.
Well, and Jordan, in my opinion too, you look at those 3 schools over there in the AA. They're like you mentioned, they're great in different things. Like Hellgate on the pitch, fantastic. Is it the cross country teams are good, the swim teams. Sentinel women's basketball, and the last couple of years football. Big Sky's good in certain things as well. Not softball, but you know what I'm saying? Like they each have their niche in those AA schools, and Hellgate boys basketball for a long time, and still to this, I guess even this last year they're still good. But it's just they're all, if they could take 3 schools and make them 2, and I know you can't, but can you imagine how much better all the sports would be at those schools?
Well, definitely, and I think that's where some of the the whole transfer rule thing over the summer and stuff, I think those are steps in the right direction to kind of, correct, certain things that, have gone on. But no, you're dead on. I mean, if Missoula was in a, place where, Bozeman is, just now having to split, in 2020, being the first year, just now having to split into, 2 high schools really.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, 3 if you include Belgrade, but, and that's a big deal. I mean, the more kids you have, especially in a state like Montana that doesn't quite have the population base as, some of the other, places. I mean, it's tough to find, enough kids. And I think that, for example, girls basketball, Butte volleyball. I mean, they have a tough time trying to get, people to, come out for that too. And I think these things are just different, all pieces of the same tree in different places. And it's interesting to think about. And it's interesting to think about how good, some of these, smaller town teams, are outside of the major population bases. So I don't know. It's an interesting conversation.
No, it definitely is. Jordan Hansen joining us from the Missoula. And when you look at some of those schools across the state and the smaller ones, they're either really good in everything or really bad in everything because they're the same kids that are playing all the sports. And I know we don't get that on the AA or even really the Class A front as much, Jordy, because kids are starting to specialize by the time they're juniors and seniors, which is completely idiotic in my opinion. But it's interesting, and it'd be cool to dive into it really. And if somebody had the time to look back, I mean, like Dillon traditionally is good in everything. And you look back a couple years ago when Flathead football was really good, Glacier's took a step back, and and Glacier's good again, and now Flathead's taking a step back, and it's just where the kids are and how how they grow. It's really interesting to think about.
Yeah, no, and definitely, I think it's a cycle too, and I think that's a lot of things too. Is just cycle, kids in and out, schools and stuff. And I was just thinking of a school like Belt too that has had such success, or places like that as well. But yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, Fairfield. Because they were really good. Well, the girls' basketball team was 120 straight. So, and then football's always good. Jordy Hansen joining us here. Do you have your top 5 picked out? Did you send it in?
I do have my top 5 picked out.
All right. So. Well, let's start in the AA. You go first.
Sure. Yeah, I've got Sentinel, and then Helena, West, Glacier, and Senior. I know Senior maybe has a couple bigger wins, but like I said, I was just really impressed with how Helena played, and I mean Sentinel absolutely handled Butte this weekend, and Glacier had a test from Big Sky, and I think Big Sky is a team that is definitely a little bit better than maybe a lot of us would have thought. So I think that's an interesting storyline to maybe watch, but that's where I'm at right now.
I have the exact top 5 as you in AA. Sentinel, Helena High, West, Glacier, Senior. It's almost like we know what we're doing or something.
Some people are saying yes. Some people are saying no, but other people are saying yes.
Well, interesting game this week. Senior and West battle in the Magic City, so that's a good one. One of the undefeated is going to fall in the East.
Yeah, and I think we're going to learn a lot about both of those teams, because I don't think they've quite had the test that maybe they've needed to have so far. So I think that'll be one of the super fun ones to watch this weekend.
Well, it's going to be a huge one, no doubt about that. Does Helena High plays at Flathead this week, I think. So
yep,
that's going to be a bloodbath. Sentinel, who do they have?
Sentinel has, off the top of my head, I think it might be Big Sky actually.
Okay.
I think it's a crosstown one, but we'll see how that goes, because we've got cases in the girls basketball and volleyball team now. Speaking of crossover, and so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, sure. Sentinel volleyball is off for the next couple of weeks, so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And the other thing I don't not to get off topic here, but it'll be interesting to see how those kind of things play into into the season, okay, this team didn't play this team, did they still get a playoff spot over, such and such team? And it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out this week.
Yeah.
Or, well, this fall.
Let's see. Thursday, you've got Glacier at Hellgate. Gallatin is at Skyview. Butte's at Capitol. And I'm looking for the other double A's. So some of them have to. Sentinels at Big Sky. So you got Crosstown, and then Helena at Flathead, CMR at Bozeman, Belgrade, Great Falls High. So that's,
Yep.
I think that's all the double A. All right, give me your top five. I'll go top five Class A first. I'm going to go, well, I'm going to tell you who I got. I got Miles City number 1 because they still haven't lost. Hamilton 2, Billings Central, Columbia Falls, and Dillon.
Yeah, I've got really similar. I've got a different number 1, but that's because they're my Hamilton Bronx. But Hamilton at number 1. I'm moving Billings Central, up. They've been very impressive for what I've seen. Them at number 2, Miles City at number 3, Dillon, and then Sioux Falls, but in a close second, Laurel, or at a close fifth, Laurel.
Right. And does Sioux Falls play Libby this week?
Yes, and that'll be a very big game.
Yes, because Libby beat Polson. So it's Sioux Falls and Libby now in that Western A race. So if Sioux Falls, because then Sioux Falls would own the tiebreak over all of them if they win.
And I actually misspoke. It's Sioux Falls and Hamilton this week.
Oh goodness. Well, that's even a bigger game.
Yeah. No, I and Hamilton's obviously coming off a really nice win over Frenchtown, a Frenchtown team that I think a lot of us really think is a pretty solid football team there, and Hamilton finally has that I won't say signature exactly, but has that win that it really looks good on paper.
So Sioux Falls hosts Hamilton Friday night. That's going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah.
Man.
Yes, it will.
Man, I wish I could go. But I'm not driving that far. All right. Class B, Fairfield, Manhattan, Glasgow, Florence, Malta.
Yeah, I'm going to go pretty close to that too. Fairfield, Glasgow, Manhattan, Malta, and then Florence Carlton. Just because Malta's undefeated, but that's still a tough one because they've had to miss a couple games, and Big Fork got a nice win over Missoula Loyola this week, and it's still I think an okay Loyola team, and it's kind of a bounce back week for them, and Columbus obviously has definitely an argument to be up there as well. And so so does Townsend. Townsend's defense is one of the best in Class B, and I think that's kind of been an underrated aspect of their games, and it just seems like every score coming from them is like 18-16, and it's like, okay, are we like not really sure what sport we're playing here, but hey, we'll take it.
It's 18-16 in the fifth, right? The volleyball here.
Yeah, no kidding.
And Big Fork plays Deer Lodge this week. It's already a forfeit, so Big Fork's got to pick up or gets another win, albeit by the forfeit. So I'm not sold on Big Fork just because of COVID. It sucks, and I hate punishing teams because they haven't played as much.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm still really high on this Florence team. I think it's their one loss is I believe a 2-point overtime loss to Manhattan, a 6-point overtime loss to Manhattan maybe.
Yep.
And they've. And I talked about them a little bit last week too, but it's just an impressive group they put together. Kind of, I won't say completely out of the blue, but definitely maybe not quite what we expected. But I still think Fairfield and Manhattan, up there, Glasgow. I think really those are kind of the class. I think the Eastern B, the Eastern side of the state as far as B goes is a little bit stronger than the Western side this year. Not that they're completely down, but
right.
I do think that that's kind of where the power base is, and it's kind of where the power base has been the last couple of years too. I think it's kind of shifted, a little bit that way, but still definitely a lot of football to be played.
Real quick, what's happened to Loyola? Just no kids right now?
No kids, and I think it's just a thing where they had like 18 seniors or something last year, wow. And we're talking about cycles and stuff. I think it's going to take a couple of years for them maybe to get some of the freshmen and sophomores kind of in there. And I think that's part of it. I mean, their numbers aren't like completely atrocious, but just a thing where, it's a lot of younger kids as opposed to, having a little bit, older group of players. So, and that's always so interesting to me because like when I was in high school, and granted I came from a little bit bigger town, but than about 44, and I had two high schools, but it was a thing where only seniors and juniors could play on varsity, and if you were a sophomore on varsity, it was huge. It was a big deal. Like that didn't happen. It was rare, and I don't know. That's always super interesting to me to talk about coaches being like, yeah, we've got this freshman that we're just throwing in there at running back. He's like 4'5", but he we need him to play. So
hey, there's nothing wrong with being short. I've been short my whole life.
No. I'm just saying they haven't hit that growth spurt yet.
There you go. I like that. Jordan Hansen with us, 8-man, Westby Granora. I love the Thunder. I'm always going to put on number 1 until they lose. Thompson Falls, Drummond Phillipsburg, Fort Benton, Joliet.
Dropping down my Longhorns. What's going on?
I know.
I've got Fort Benton, T Falls, Flint Creek, Westby, and then Joliet.
Okay.
And I think Charlotte got beat last week. And that was a team, but I mean that was a good test for Flint Creek, and I think that they've kind of proved something, or a good test for Thompson Falls, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of proved something a little bit there, and that T Falls team, they're dangerous. They're real dangerous, and it's interesting, especially since how they lost. I think it was like 6 or 7 seniors off the last year's team, a couple big contributors, but they've really started to just kind of have one of those continual programs out there, and it's just impressive.
So we have the same top 5, just a little bit different. But what impresses me the most about Fort Benton is you think about 5 years ago, they didn't even have enough to field a team. And now they're undefeated and rolling in 8-man. I love it. It's good to see Fort Benton back. I remember when they were a Class B powerhouse 20 years ago, and they were so good. And the Elliots, the Utterbacks, and I mean, the list goes on and on. All right, 6-man, Big Sandy, Shields Valley, huge win. Freud Lake, Richie Lambert, and then Savage. And Shields Valley, they scored 50. They put a 50 spot on Broadview Lavina, who hadn't been scored on in 3 previous games all year, and then Shields Valley goes out and destroys them. So they're my number 2.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a Shields Valley team that we all need to take it seriously. I think I had them at 3 last week, but Hot Springs hasn't played in a couple weeks,
right?
And so I'm gonna have Big Sandy, Shields like you, and then I'm gonna go Power, and then I'm gonna go Hot Springs, and then I'm gonna go Ford Lake. I think that that's still a good Power team, and I don't want to count out Hot Springs either because that's a really good football team. It's just they just have not had the chance to play as many games. And it's kind of interesting in 6-man this year with some of the non-conference stuff going away like that, and it's always crazy, especially when you have teams like going down to Gardner or whatever that have to make an 8-9 hour drive to play even a conference game and stuff. So it's just real interesting kind of how that aspect is played out too. But again, kind of like we were saying in Class B, I think the 6-man power base is on that eastern half of the state, and I think it's really starting to show up. But it'll be some good playoff games. I'm really looking forward to it. 6-man, the 6 and 8-man playoff brackets are some of my favorite in the state. Just how crazy they are. It's like almost like March Madness at first that first weekend, and always just fun to see how those teams play. And
So you're part of the 406mtsports.com crew. You guys have Hot Springs number 2 in your 6-man on the 406. So I like your polls basically where you got Power Dutton Brady's 3-0. My Richie Lambert is 4-1. There, you guys have them at 7th. I think I have them 4th. But you look at those you look at the divisions, and it's just tough to choose sometimes because these teams, a lot of them still haven't played each other. You go back to like 8-man, you've got a huge one this week, Westby Grenor at Fairview, and you guys on the 406 poll dumped Fairview down to 7, down 4 spots after losing. But man, there's just unbelievable, just great football across the state. And like you mentioned, the 6 and 8-man, I think Class B is my favorite, and then probably AA is 4th, and I'll put the 6 and the 8-man guys in there. But Class A is not my favorite division, except for my East Helena Vigilantes, who are going to win it all next year, their first year of varsity.
I mean, that'd be a heck of a story for sure. I think the thing about A is that, like, you have some schools that probably should be in B, and you have other schools that probably, with a few more kids could compete with some of the double. You just kind of have a weird power balance there. And I sometimes feel that with, 6-man as well. I mean, you have teams where, you literally might have 7 kids, and you have another 6-man team where, you have 14 or 15 or whatever. So, and I think that's kind of, a tough part as well. And I think that kind of goes into sometimes we see these, I mean, obviously 6 and 8-man scoring is like a video game. It's like arena football sometimes, but, I think you do see some of that, imbalance a little bit, and it makes it tough to get, a true, handle on these teams to play playoffs. I mean, how many playoff games are like, oh yeah, that was a, 2 seed out of, wherever it's playing, against whoever, and they get, whooped, 50 to 14, and it's like, well, okay, I guess they were maybe a little bit better, in that conference than we thought. So, and especially this year with some teams opting out of non-conference and other things like that, it makes it even more difficult to try to figure out and where the power actually is.
All right, give me a couple of games, Jordy, that you're looking forward to this weekend.
Honestly, at the AA, like we were kind of talking about earlier, the 2 Billings schools going at it. Yep. I think there'll be, like we were talking earlier too, Hamilton, Sioux Falls, see how good, they actually are. And, I think, I can't remember who Thompson Falls plays off the top of my head, so I'm sorry on that one. But, basically every game that they play at this point is almost, must watch.
They're
TV.
hosting Plains on Friday night.
Yeah.
So T-Fall should win.
Well, yeah, you would think.
Right?
You would think.
Hey, anything can happen. Here's a good one in Class B to watch. Florence is at Eureka. That's going to be a good game Friday night.
Absolutely.
Florence Carleton at Eureka. Oof.
And, that's a Eureka team that's, kind of bounced back after, a little bit of a disappointment early in the season to Big Fork and, Townsend, excuse me. And, I think that, it's still a team that's very well coached and, it's one of those things where it's, not, one loss or something, along those lines isn't gonna, completely down a year. So it'll be something to watch for sure.
And then here's a good one. DGS, Denton Geyser Stanford at Shields Valley. That'll be a good one. And then I got to ask you this. So who wins? You've got the Battle of the Springs. White Sulphur at Hot.
I'm going to say Hot Springs, but, that WSS team has really improved, even since I've been here. I mean, I know a couple of years ago that they were kind of struggling a little bit, even with some numbers, but they've started to figure some things out, and even just a couple different sports. I mean, basketball as well, and you never know, and I think it'll be a good one for Hot Springs to finally get back on the field and see if that offense can pick up where they left off, and even where they left off a year ago. I think that the last time they played, it was kind of a shootout. So yeah, it'll be fun to see how that plays out. For
Was it last year that White Sulphur went into the playoffs undefeated and then lost in the playoffs the first game? Or was it a couple years ago?
I think that was maybe last year or a couple years ago. I think they had a couple losses last year, but I'd have to get a fact check on that one.
I would have to go back and look too. Yeah, I don't remember. Hey man, I know you're a busy dude. I appreciate it. What do you got? Where are you going to be this week, and then this weekend?
I actually haven't really taken too much of a look at what games we're games are covering yet this weekend. But assuming that probably Crosstown for sure. And then yeah, that's probably where I'll be this weekend is Sentinel Big Sky. But I think it'll be a good team. I'm excited to see Big Sky take a stab at Sentinel and see the Sentinel offense that is the Death Star kind of do their thing. And especially after what Butte and Helena did in week 1. I mean, what Sentinel did to Butte and what Sentinel's kind of done to everybody, it's just, I mean, they could score 100 points if they really wanted to, and they really haven't even dived into their, bag of tricks, it feels like. And it's like watching the Chiefs offense. I was watching that game last night, and, Patrick Mahomes.
Right, I saw that too. Mama's not happy with the name.
Hey, you know what? To all the listeners out there, if we're spelling your kid's name wrong or saying it the wrong way, just let us know, and we'll do a TV spot where we ask the player about what they want to be called and ask them about their mom 5 minutes after beating locking up the number 1 playoff seed in the AFC. So.
I saw. Oh, that's just too funny. So, I mean, you're at Jordy Hansen on the Twitter, but we have to call you Jordan when we're doing these calls, or?
I'm going to leave that up to my publicist. Okay, so my middle name is Dean. So I was always like, if I ever write a book, I'm gonna put my author name as JD Hansen.
Oh, okay.
So you guys know, start calling me JD now. No, I'm kidding, please.
Well, my middle name is Dwayne, and I'm named after my dad, so it's Jason Dwayne, and he calls me JD. There's 5 people in this world that are allowed to call me JD, and he's one. My mom's the other. My aunt, and then 2 friends. And other than that, nobody's allowed. Not even my wife. So we won't call each other JD. Does that work?
That sounds good.
Okay.
I think we can agree on that one. So.
All right, man. Well, enjoy the week. Enjoy the weekend of football and volleyball and soccer, and we'll check in with you hopefully Monday next week.
Definitely. I'll put it in my calendar along with my reminder to actually fill out my time card, because I am a notoriously bad person at filling out my time card. So I'll have to. And,
well, newspaper guys don't get paid a lot anyway, like radio guys. So you kind of need that.
Yeah, it is nice to be paid. I have been told that it is nice to have money to be able to pay for things. So and hey, rent and rent's coming due this week. So
well, there you go.
You gotta make sure you get paid. So.
Real quick, final thought: who wins tonight? Trump or Biden? Or who loses tonight? Who loses tonight? The people?
I don't know if there is going to be a winner other than maybe Twitter. I don't know there.
I'm going to stay off the Twitter tonight. There is no sports to worry about, so I'm off on that. So I'll we'll go from there. Man, I don't want to even step foot next to Twitter tonight.
No, it's not going to be the place to be. That is for sure.
All right, man. Let you roll, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Jason.
All right, thanks, Jordan. That is Jordan Hansen joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Man, he is so fun. He is a blast to chat with. Blast to chat with. Great games, too, like he said. Great games coming up this week. And across the state. And that's just football. I mean, there's some unbelievable volleyball. There's some great soccer, some of it going on today. So, quick break. Come back. This segment brought to you by Rutgers Furniture. When we return, we're going to check in on this day in history, COVID update, and more. Jason Walker Show, presented by Capital Collision Center. Coming right back. Hang on.
New vehicles keep coming, and Capital Collision Center keeps earning certifications to repair them. They're Helena's newest GM-certified facility. No matter the make or year, they repair your car to manufacturer's standards and requirements, maintaining its safety and value. Montana state law says it's your vehicle and it's your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center, certified in GM, Subaru, and Nissan, and Helena's only shop certified in Honda, Acura, and Ford. When you value safety, go to Capital Collision Center on Euclid.
Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com. Segment brought to you by Mark LaRoe Photography. Mention the Jason Walker Show when you purchase anything, get 20% off, and purchase or book a portrait package. Mention the Jason Walker Show, get an 8x10 canvas or matte print absolutely free. Jason Walker Show presented by Capital Collision Center, and we've talked a lot about my wreck that I was in back in July and the work that Capital Collision Center did on it. Well, there's a reason. Capital Collision is one of the first shops in the country to become manufacturer certified. And I mean, they spent a lot of money to do this. And special training, the equipment. Here's why. It's important to Capital Collision that your vehicle is properly repaired to manufacturer repair requirements to maintain the safety and the value of your vehicle. Montana law says it's your choice where you have your vehicle repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center. All right, let's get to our daily COVID updates, and there's a lot. And like Jordan Hansen said, we're going to keep an eye because Sentinel Volleyball's out for a while. Conrad Sports done for a couple weeks. Jordan Sports as well. In fact, Jordan schools are closed for 2 weeks. A teacher tested positive. So they won't be doing any sports until October the 10th. And they're going to remote learning until October 12th at the minimum. So that is at Jordan schools in Montana. 320, the first phase. A year later, in 1995 on this date, the trial for O.J. was sent to the jury. 1907, happy birthday, Gene Autry, the singer, songwriter, actor, musician, business tycoon. He used to own the California, Anaheim/LA Angels. Also a happy birthday, 1969, Erika Eleniak, the Canadian actress on Baywatch. She was a Playmate of the Year in July of 1989. Cam Rouser, former Townsend Bulldog and current Western Bulldog, celebrates a birthday today. That kid, so funny. And one death on this date, 1975, Casey Stengel passed away. Managed the Yankees for a dozen years. He was the New York Mets' first manager in 1962. But there you go. All right. Had fun today. Had a lot of fun today, talking on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline with both of our guests, Sean Gleason and Jordan Hansen. Let's do this.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
Great time today. Jason Walker Show, Major Mortgage Man Cave. We'll do it again tomorrow. I have no idea who's going to be on the show tomorrow. Nicole Rigoni was set to, but she's actually leaving a day early for vacation. And she's a volleyball coach. She'll join us back for That's What She Said next week. Thursday, Barry Abrams. Friday, Selena Adelson Journey will join us. So come tomorrow at 4. I have no idea who's going to be on the show, but we're going to have fun no matter what. We'll see you back here for Jason Walker Show. Go to jasonwalkershow.com if you want to rewatch this show or any of our previous shows. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Bye.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.